thank you everybody for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. I'm going to angle slightly this way so you can't see Pat's elbow in the side of my camera. So we are, so as you guys know, we are still in the, oh wait, where did Jason go?
I think he was frozen.
Oh, okay. Should we wait? Is that why he was unresponsive to our sweater
Yeah, that's why
compliments that were so polite?
Yeah.
Oh.
If he comes back with a different sweater, then we'll know that he didn't.
I would love that. If he could just like disappear every like 10 minutes for an outfit change, that would actually bring me great joy today.
Like an awards show.
Yes, I love this. Should we, Alex, I don't know, has he come back in the waiting room yet?
I have not seen him come back in yet, so
Okay.
I'll go ahead and hit pause. Oh, nope, there he is.
Hey, we don't want to be rude and get the party started without all of our friends. Welcome back, Jason.
Hello, sorry, I could not hear a thing. So
no, that's okay. We were complimenting your sweater, and we thought that you were just so overcome with sweater compliments that you just left.
I couldn't take it. I'm sorry. No, I'm good.
Perfect. All right, so thank you everybody for joining us today. We are so excited to be here with you. As you know, we've got about a week and a half left.
Time means.
Yeah, we have about a week and a half left in our Plasma Series Ectomobile Anniversary Edition HasLab campaign. And so just wanted to give people an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have that you have come across with your subscribers or followers or however you are soliciting questions today, whether they come from your own brain or the brains of others. If you don't know us at this point, I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Emily on the marketing team and
Steve. No, I'm Pat. I'm graphics and dabbling in some products. So happy to try and answer all the questions that I can answer.
And if you ask a question that we can't answer, I will come up with a very tactful PR-approved marketing answer for it. But you probably won't be getting a particularly large amount of information. I mean, sorry, Lenny from the G.I. Joe team just walked past the window where we are and made a face at me. And we do have the models here. So if you have any specific model-related questions, Pat will be able to switch his camera to the magic close-up camera. Ooh, beautiful. And we will just try to get through as many questions as humanly possible. Sound okay to everybody?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Groovy.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to do this diplomatically? Do we want to? I think we were told not to plug that into a computer.
Oh, really?
I feel like it. You gonna? Okay.
Oh, look, it worked fine.
Great. Well, angle your. There you go. I feel like that was something Zach warned us about, but we'll deal with those consequences later.
Yeah.
Do we? Did you guys come with questions? This is a very casual situation for us today. Clearly, like yeah. How is everybody? Are we feeling good about today?
I'm good. I'm winging it though.
That's good, aren't we all?
That's all we can do.
All right. Well, maybe we just go around in question circles until we run out of questions.
Sure.
Cool. Should we let Jason go first because we all like his sweater so much?
Absolutely.
Hey,
Excellent.
fantastic. Okay. Well, one thing that I've been seeing creep up quite a bit in the comments is regarding the decals of the Ecto 1A. I know it's been said that they're made so they can be removed, reapplied, likely up to 5 times, possibly 10. And while I do think that's great, I've read comments from people worried that this means those decals on the first application may not hold the best or look as good when compared to, let's say, if Hasbro was to, put it on themselves. Given reapplication is in mind, for someone like me who wants to trick out the Ecto 1 into the 1A and just leave it like that, can we get some clarification or insight on the quality of those decals? Like, if somebody is buying it just for the 1A, they apply those, is it going to look like it came right from the factory?
I mean, I sure think it will. So the decals that we're using on this are kind of standard across our HasLab executions. So for like if you have on a G.I. Joe item like a Hiss tank, or if you just got a Dragonfly in. So I've had, every time we get a HasLab in, I open a box, I put decals on, and I kind of put it on a shelf and it just kind of hangs out there. I've never had issues with decals peeling on my end. I think if you're like, you peel a decal off of the sheet and maybe you put it on your hand and it gets oil on it and then you put it onto the plastic, you may have some sticking issues. but I haven't had issues with them peeling or with kind of them losing their stickiness if you're just putting them directly onto the vehicle. So that wouldn't necessarily be a concern that I would have on that. These all go through extensive testing. So we want to make sure that we know that these are expensive and they're dream items. So we want to make sure that they will look good and kind of hold up to what you want to use them for. I wouldn't necessarily take your Ecto 1A and like dunk it in a swimming pool and expect your decals to look like they're pristine and out of the box. Yeah, I wouldn't maybe not a car wash situation. That was much better than a swimming pool. Thank you. But like we haven't had issues with decal application that before, but I do very much understand that this is a group of fans who don't necessarily have a lot of exposure to doing decals like this. So I promise that this is something that we have experience in. These will go through extensive QA testing. And again, they're not paper decals. They are made out of vinyl, so they withstand being able to be kind of picked up and replaced. But excellent question. Follow-ups for that?
I have one.
Go for it. Yeah. Literally nothing.
As someone that still has sticker anxiety from my youth of putting stickers onto a vehicle, including the Kenner Ecto 1A, how are the directions going to be laid out to ensure that maybe novice decal applicators like ourselves are set up for success, that we're doing it right, hopefully the first time?
That is an excellent question. So we have actually, the way that the development on HasLabs is weird, and we kind of go through the development process twice. So we are actually just starting on the instructions for this item. And so that's a great thing for us to be able to take into account while we are doing those instruction sheets, is making sure that there are very clear diagrams and
it will be, as the graphic designer, and I might not be the one that does the instructions, but there will be a robust amount of visual reference. And with any kind of high-end item, they all kind of come with decals. There's a certain buildable Ecto one that I believe also came with sticker it yourself type decals. There will be a very robust visual reference within those instructions for decal placement.
And then awesome. Jay, somebody who also has that same sticker anxiety from childhood, we will make sure that there are extras of as many of the decals as we possibly can include, on the off chance that you either don't love how something is turning out, or you're just like, I can't with this one, I just want to start over. So we'll make sure that you have as many options as humanly possible. So giving yourself a little bit of that little grace and a little extra buffer is, I think, always nice too. And then as we're going through the process of, walking you through development milestones and kind of doing those unboxing videos, we can make sure to, have somebody stickering one on a video to say like, okay, let's decal this thing together.
Yes.
Teamwork.
Maybe get Tony involved.
Yeah. Yes, we'll have Tony give us his best decaling, like not cheats,
experience.
But yes.
Yes.
So as I start to kind of dive into the sheets that are going to come with this, my goal is to try and cram as much stuff onto those sheets, whether you need them or not. Like, how many different logos can I throw on that sheet? How many different caution stripes can I put on there? Like, how many can I cram onto one page, and then do that for as many pages that are going to come with this?
I kind of have it relates to that. Another follow-up then. So one of my favorite looks is the Ghostbusters, the video game, which is kind of a hybrid Ecto 1, Ecto 1A. Will there be enough extra like GB1 logos if we wanted to do like the video game? So the caution strips, but with the GB1 logo, including one extra one on the hood.
Oh.
So the way my preliminary deco sheets are laid out, I've got a few extras on there of everything. So hopefully I can just keep adding more and more until somebody tells me to stop.
Cool. Sweet.
So
thank you.
Follow up.
Yes, please.
So you said like vinyl stickers. Are we talking about like an actual like sticky back vinyl sticker, or more of like a color forms type of situation?
Actual sticky backs decal. Yep, vinyl sticker. Yes. Good question, Dave. Yes, not a color form.
As much as I love color.
Yeah, I mean, that would also be incredible to do this as a as kind of that option as well. But so this will be sticky. So like, should you choose, if you're like, oh, look at all these extra Ghostbusters 2 logos, I should really cover a water bottle with these. Up to you. That's a choice that you can make for you.
Question.
Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Is it a follow-up to the follow-up of the follow-up?
No, I think we've covered the stickers. It's really great. Hey, one thing I'll say, just a compliment to you guys. You guys have been so forthright with information that it's actually kind of been hard to come up with questions because I feel like a lot of it's out there.
Sorry about that.
No, it's great. This is a good
I
one of
read
those
the
good
comments.
Sorry, not sorry. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, you
not
can
a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
But so we're in the home stretch. We're not quite there. I think anybody who is like familiar with HasLabs kind of understands like there is this almost always happens, this kind of lull period before the last 48 hours. So I'm personally very confident that it'll fund. Having said that, you're starting to see some of the nervous chatter out there. I already know the answer to this, but it's probably a good clarification. There's people starting to say, I wonder if they'll extend the deadline. I wonder if they'll just, it'll just show up in Walmart after all. Like, would it be good to address like, hey, like, this is it. If it does not fund, there is no, there's no going back. Not to sound dire, but I think from an educational standpoint, there's people who are maybe new to HasLabs who might need that.
Yeah.
No second chances.
So the way that the HasLab model works, for those who may be unfamiliar with it, is that we put kind of dream items up for crowdfund, and then should they fund, they move into production, and should they not fund, they are never produced. So this is kind of your one and only shot at getting this. So if for any reason this does not fund, we would never attempt to do a 6-inch plasma series Ectomobile ever again. And so this is not something that we would say like, psych, we're going to sell these at brick and mortar or offer these to another retailer. That is not how HasLabs work. And so everybody has until 11:59 p.m. Eastern time on December 2nd with a reminder that we will not charge you any money until, that's right, say it with me, 11:59 p.m. Eastern time on December 2nd, regardless of when you back the campaign. So if this is something that you are excited about, this is kind of your one and only shot at getting it.
I have a follow-up to my thing. And
Yes.
it wasn't really a question, but I just from like a brand HasLab perspective, is the campaign about where you guys would have expected it to be about now, like compared to past campaigns?
Yeah, I think that this is a little bit of a difficult campaign because the way that it is structured to make sure that, because we didn't do it with tiers, right? Because we wanted to make sure that everybody could get everything that they wanted as soon as this thing funds. So the backer threshold on it is a little bit higher than some of the other campaigns that we have seen that are comparable to this. And so given that that the backer count is a little bit higher, I would say that it's about where we expected. So as we know, with those beautiful Brian Briggs HasLab charts bring me so much joy. There's always that hockey sticking up at the end of HasLab campaigns as FOMO sets in, but there's kind of this lull in the middle of the campaign. And a lot of people ask, like, why don't you just shorten the campaigns so that there's less of a lull? Because we know that these are very expensive items and that you may not have $399.99 kicking around in your bank account right now. And so that's one of the reasons why we start teasing this early so that you know that something is coming. And then we do a 45-day campaign window so that people have time to save up to add this to their budget, so that it's not oh, we dropped something, it's a surprise, and you have 7 days and then you're never able to get it again. So we really, to the best of our abilities, want to make sure that you have the time and the flexibility to fund this if you are interested in it.
Cool.
How's that?
That was good.
Great.
It's also just a different. It's apples and oranges to the last 2 Ghostbusters campaigns, because we had proton packs. Everybody wants 5. Ghost traps. Everybody wants 5. So going from these really awesome role play items to action figures, we anticipated there being a little bit of a swing. But yeah, no, it's been a good campaign so far, and we've got a lot of content left to drop.
That's
As far
awesome.
as like marketing beats and stuff to hit for the next week and a half.
Yeah.
Cool.
Dave, did you have a follow-up to the follow-up?
Something kind of follow-up-ish.
Okay.
Because I'm a when, not if person.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Ectomobile fully funds, is the team committed to supporting the project with more 1/12 scale plasma series figures or releases in the future?
That is an excellent question. And you know me, and I love being as cagey as Lenny. Lenny came back. So we have the Ectos out on the table. So Lenny we're doing an interview. Bye. So we have we haven't had a lot of opportunities to have the models out in the building for people to see. And so as toy people, we spend as people who do this for their jobs, we spend a lot of time looking at really cool toys. So I'm not sure he'd actually seen the models before. So he was just standing at the door with his jaw open, like, this is so exciting, asking if he could come in to see them, to which I just said we were doing an interview. So he'll chuckle when he sees this. One more plasma series figures. Okay, so you know me, I love a cagey answer about what is coming for the future of a line. So you know that we can't necessarily say what may or may not be coming in the future, but the success of a project like this only tells our leadership team that this is a brand and a line that have fans and has support, and that we should continue putting our development dollars against it. I think that one of the things that we can say is we've gotten a lot more questions than we thought we would get about the original run of Plasma series figures, especially the original Ghostbusters 1 figures that we did with the Afterlife line. And that going into this, it's been really interesting because we made some assumptions of when we were doing this project. And one of the assumptions was that the majority of our backers would already have purchased those figures when we did the Afterlife line. And so the reason we didn't include Ghostbusters 1 figures with the HasLab is because we didn't want to duplicate what we kind of assumed was already in your collections, and that we wanted to make sure that you were getting new figures. So while I can't necessarily say exactly what we are doing, stay tuned, because we are working on figuring out how to do something that is at least a little bit special around those Ghostbusters 1 figures, knowing that fans are likely going to be looking for those figures, or perhaps something that might be similar to them, but perhaps with a couple of updates that you may want for your HasLab collection. Does that seem fair?
It was very vague.
It was.
It's vague, and I know what's coming.
Well, there's only so much information.
But amazing. It's yeah. Vague
you.
but amazing. That's
Thanks.
That's always the hope.
When trying to plan for the future, a successful campaign isn't gonna hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like having this win under our belts for the Plasma series line is only gonna make things better.
Cool.
Right on. Looks like I froze, but I don't know if you could hear me or not.
I didn't notice you were frozen, and I was like, he's waiting to say something. He's on the verge of great excitement.
But we still can't hear you.
Okay.
All right. Anybody have a follow-up to the follow-up on the vagueness that we just threw out? Or next topic? We can go whatever we want. The world is our oyster, our Ghostbusters-shaped oyster.
Well, I mean, I guess I could ask. This might be. Well, we'll see what you can do with this one. So people were super excited about Slimer and Library Ghost.
Yeah.
Being part of the HasLab. There has been no standalone ghosts, really, besides Gozer, but still kind of human form. Is it why? Why did it take a HasLab campaign to get to something like a Slimer or a Library Ghost? Is it simply just going direct to consumer like this? There's a lot more opportunity to develop new molds. It kind of is like a financial thing, or is there another reason?
I mean, great question. So
Slimer maintains his own likeness rights.
Yeah, there it is.
I don't want to
There's
ask
a lot
tough
of
questions,
negotiating to
but
get Slimer.
I'm just, these are the, you see these questions pop up.
Yeah. I think that it's hard because neither Pat nor I were on the line when they did the product for Afterlife, so we can't necessarily speak to what the thought process was of the team, but that it's been interesting to the more we do with Ghostbusters to understand what fans are looking for and what is really kind of your driving force for purchasing and what you are looking for toys and what you get excited about, which is wonderful. It's always good to kind of learn more about that. But I think as we have been kind of listening on Plasma series desires, the reason that we didn't do standalone ghosts for the Frozen Empire line is because we were already in development on this item. So we wanted this to be something that was really special. And we knew from the feedback of everybody who wanted ghosts that it was something really special that we could add to this HasLab.
Yeah. It's been amazing. The feedback, like it's I'm on pins and needles. I cannot wait till December 2nd. So because the figures are so darn good.
Thanks. Our team has worked very, very hard on them, and
Honestly, I'm tired of looking at them.
Yeah. The amount of development that goes into a HasLab before anybody gets to see it is hundreds and hundreds of hours of development work. And then we finally get to share them with the world. And then we hope that people get as excited about them as we are. So to be able to finally say, like, yeah, we've been working on a Slimer sculpt for like a year and it's fantastic. And we are very, very proud of it is a lot of fun.
Very cool. Thank you.
I don't have a follow-up other than great question, Craig.
We'll forgive you.
But I did ask my audience if they wanted me to voice any questions for you all. And this could be maybe even broader than the original question, which was, will this Ecto one work with the great, cloth goods style movie figures the Mego collaboration that you all did a year or two ago? And I guess more broadly, like how much of a scale range can this Ecto one support for different Ghostbuster figures that have been made, not beyond just you all?
So, excellent question. So to use Hasbro's 6-inch brands, so the way that we kind of think about our 6-inch scales at Hasbro, there's kind of two different scales of figures that we see. So Plasma series and then Star Wars Black series are what we kind of, what are we referring to it internally as?
There's hero scale and cinema scale.
Yes. So kind of more of a cinema scale. So, and then we have Marvel Legends series and G.I. Joe Classified series that are a little bit more of a hero scale. And so you tend to see that Classified series and Legends tend to be a little bit on the larger side for 6-inch scale versus Black series and Plasma series tend to be a little bit on the smaller side for 6-inch scale, which is not to say that they all don't live happily together, but just kind of as a design and how those figures are sized. Like a lot of G.I. Joes are just over 6 feet tall in their character descriptions. And so they become over 6 inches tall for the scale. So we have put other figures from other brands in the car, and depending on their articulation, so as long as you can get them roughly into a seated position for a car, all of those figures fit in this car, which is something that is very, very cool. So you can kind of extrapolate your own adventures for what these cars could be used for, that I'm sure our PR team would love for me to not verbalize myself.
Well, I'm sure there's a reason Lenny wants to come back in here.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely a reason Lenny wants to come in and play with these cars. But I think that's something
awesome.
That's one of the things that's really cool about having kind of a standardized scale across all of our brands, is that so that the 6-inch scale brands that we have at Hasbro, or perhaps brands that were 6-inch scale or close to 6-inch scale that may have been Ghostbusters, as long as they have the articulation, even if they are older figures, should reasonably fit in these cars.
That's awesome. Yeah, looking at Pat, that angle you just did, it seemed like there was pretty good clearance on the heads there.
Yeah, that's why I did it. I don't want to. No promises, but if it's
Good
roughly 112, it's pretty good.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. You betcha. All right, Jason, got any thoughts, feelings?
Sure. Well, I'm quite curious, actually, since we're kind of nearing crunch time here. When it comes to marketing, getting the word out, is there anything planned to maybe gain the attention or pique the interest of the more common fan? Like I know in the past you guys have worked with Adam Savage, things like that. Are there any videos maybe in the pipeline or content that could help get the word out a little further rather than the core Ghostbusters fan base?
Yeah, so Adam Savage was so lovely and did an unboxing video for our soon to be shipping 2 in the box HasLab, which I hope everybody has cleared enough room in their toy storage for those to be arriving. I don't know, I got my stack of 5 dragonflies earlier this week and I was very unprepared for them. So look forward to my stack of 5 2 in the boxes. But he was so lovely and did that video for us. So he did a plug for the Ectomobile HasLab at the end of that video. And then we have a couple more things kind of up our sleeve. So we did the video with Ernie Hudson at Rhode Island Comic Con, which was a ton of fun. It was lovely to get to kind of hear some of his memories of, the first time he drove an Ecto on set and what that was like and what he remembers about it, and having him kind of look inside and say like, oh yeah, this is pretty close to the original car, which
we posted what, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and I think it was an 8 or 9 minute video.
Yeah.
Like cut it down to 2 minutes.
That was a ton of fun. So stay tuned over the next week and a half for, whatever fun things that we can magic up. There may be a road trip that will be happening tomorrow to go and get some more content, and perhaps a state that is not Rhode Island. But we'll be able to hopefully post some behind the scenes of that soon.
Very cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a question. I see discussion. So the 2 things that come up all the time are international backers and when those are added to the total. And then there's also discussion on if the backer count is the individual orders or the like if I ordered 4 Ecto ones, would the number increase by 4 or would the number increase by 1?
Number would increase by 4.
Okay. That's what I thought, but I've seen people say the other way, so I think that's a good clarifier.
It's a little confusingly worded on the website because I think it says backers instead of like items purchased. So I 100% understand where that comes from. With kind of the international rollout of Hasbro Pulse across more global markets, those numbers are taken into account when those items are backed on the website. So sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. I believe that the way that the new website works is it like pings off 3 different places. So sometimes it can take a minute or 2 for them to show up as part of the backer count, but they are showing up relatively quickly now. For any of the markets that do not have Hasbro Pulse and are listing this with independent retailers, those numbers go into a spreadsheet and then they get updated with the website once a week.
Okay, cool. Good. That's good.
One question we had people ask was just the decision to kind of go with Ghostbusters 2 as part of a HasLab figures wise as opposed to retail. Just kind of the kind of reasoning behind that.
Yeah, I think that's all part of the story that we're telling with this. And so the idea that truly the top 3 things that we have been asked for have been ghosts, have been ectos, and have been Ghostbusters 2. And so the idea of being able to say like, hey, we know it's been a while since you got Plasma series figures, but this is everything that you have been asking for in one neat, tidy bow. And if on the off chance you do not care about Ghostbusters 2 at all, great news. Here's a 40th anniversary HasLab that you can enjoy. But if you do love Ghostbusters 2 as much as we are being told that people love Ghostbusters 2, that here is kind of an all-in that celebrates both of the anniversaries. And so again, to us, it's kind of a fun love letter to the franchise to be able to say like, hey fans, we hear you and we're sorry it's taken this long, but check out all of this amazing stuff that we're able to offer you. And to include 7 figures with a HasLab at 6-inch scale is bonkers. Like
I look at it like it's a little bit of playing catch up too, right?
Yeah.
Like we had such a dry spell for Plasma Ghostbusters figures that it's like, all right, cool, we got to make up for some lost time here. Like how many can we cram into this HasLab? And it being an anniversary year for both movies was just such a huge opportunity. that I really feel like we were just in meetings and we were like, yeah, but can we also add this? And what about these?
Oh.
And like, can we do this?
Our project manager
Yeah.
was at the end, she was just like, please stop suggesting we add more things to this project. We can't add anything else. But this is, yeah, we threw,
I had a lot more stuff I wanted to add.
I know, but this is a loaded HasLab. And so it's been really fun to figure out how we can really maximize what we can give to fans. And so I know that we've talked about this before, but one of the decisions that we collectively made as a team was that these figures will not come individually packaged within the HasLab box. So they will be wrapped. They will come lovingly wrapped, likely in a tissue or a poly bag, to make sure that they stay safe. But because we had so many figures, by eliminating those packaging expenses, we were actually able to add an entire additional figure. And we figured that if yes, it was a lot. And so being able to have those cost savings, we decided that you would much rather have more figures than that packaging within packaging.
Everybody gets a telly.
Everybody gets a telly.
And Pat, that actually made me think of something. Like you said that there was stuff that was kind of cutting room floor. Just with the like overwhelmingly awesome amount of accessories that are included in this. Like everybody gets a slime spray. Like everybody that gets a slime sprayer gets a slime sprayer. Everybody gets proton streams, free beverage mugs, and balloons for the kids. Like, what was your
remembering the feedback from these with the original wave of just like, why doesn't everybody come with a proton stream? Everybody comes with a proton stream. So not making that mistake again.
But what was your cutting room floor, like your biggest kind of cutting room floor?
Oh, I can't tell you in case of the future.
Okay, fair enough.
You want to throw out one?
I don't know which one to throw out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can.
I think that there were discussions around the library ghost with wanting to build out that library scene a little bit more, and how many accessories could we throw in from that? Could we do like giant stacks of books? Could we kind of build out that a little bit more? Ultimately, prohibitively cost of it.
Yeah, you get a nice stack of 4 books.
Yep.
But I had some plans drawn up for some 6-inch scale, 7-foot tall stacks that
turns out those are kind of expensive to tool and include in a product offering. Who would have thought?
Yeah, but no, rest assured, I have no shortage of PowerPoint slides that are like, and this, and this, and yes.
And one of the things that we made sure that we really did not cut costs on were the electronics on this item. These things, when you see them in real life, they light up like Christmas trees. They are absolutely spectacular and kind of showstoppers for anybody who sees them. And oh, there's my laptop. They look good on camera, but they look incredible in person. And so I think that that's going to be a real wow moment for fans when they get theirs in hand and they put batteries in it for the first time and you make the siren noise go. And it's just, you'll get to have the same moment that we had when we first unboxed them and we went, oh my God, these are incredible. Which, I mean, again, to wow us with something takes something really special. And so it's
usually Ghostbusters.
It's usually Ghostbusters, but it's just been so much fun to get to work on these. And then with how clever the Ghostbusters community is with modding all of the cosplay props, I can't wait to see what kind of things emerge for these vehicles. And again, as we're all waiting for our 2 in the boxes to show up, please remember the PKE meter is not an actual taser when it goes into taser mode. And for the love of God, please don't make it into one. Thank you.
With all the mechanics inside the PKE, I don't think you can make it a taser.
Related to, maybe not quite related, but kind of related to the previous Ghostbusters HasLab, since they were, the tools of the Ghostbusters, the packaging reflected, that kind of ergonomic, how they would package their equipment approach. How are you going to approach the packaging for this set? Like, what is kind of going through your minds right now on how you're going to approach it?
Good question.
That's such a good question. What are you, my boss? So packaging.
He's somebody's boss. That's a boss question.
So packaging is actually I kick that off next week. So I'm gonna start working on developing, what that looks like, how to best kind of bring forward Plasma series, but also stay kind of close to where we've been. Like that two in the box package is so much fun and it's full of, there's an Easter egg on every panel.
Oh, and it's hiding behind Jason in the corner
Yeah, I see
floor
it back there.
with
Oh,
some
yeah,
Easter eggs.
nice.
It's kind of, do I go fully one way or the other? And I think I might do it both ways and then see which one the team likes more.
Can I throw out this idea and then you can steal it or not use it? Or
Yeah, go ahead.
It'd be really cool if it was like the Firehouse doors and then
Mhm.
you open them up and then it's the like Ecto's face right there.
Ooh,
That
that's
would be
fun.
cool.
Cool.
I heard my structure engineer cry somewhere.
Well, if we're throwing out packaging ideas, I think it would be really cool if it looked like the old Kenner Ecto One packaging.
Ooh, that's
but
a
it
cool
was
idea
I'm
too.
sorry, Craig, you froze.
an illustration. But like imagine but it's like the actual, the guys, not as cartoons. But I don't know, something that's not for me. No,
That's a fun
packaging.
idea too.
I think the cool thing about the history of Ghostbusters is that there's no shortage of really cool things that you can do. You can do it in world, you can do it kind of Kenner throwback, you can do it as more modern toy packaging, but that there's so many, it must be really hard for you to have this many options.
Yeah, it's not great. But at the same time, I've been living in the Ghostbusters world on my own for 38 years. And I've been, living in this world here at Hasbro for 2.5, 3. And it's just kind of freeing because I don't have to think too hard about it because I like so much of it is muscle memory and so much of it is just like, well, what do I think is cool? Because I'm such a huge nerd. Being a huge Ghostbusters fan has been like endlessly helpful on this brand, whether it's coming up with product ideas or coming up with packaging ideas, or even just like campaigns and being like, excuse me, marketers, I'm overstepping. Like that is kind of what I do here, and to be able to do that with packaging, like I can come up with 3 or 4 different ideas just off the top of my head on how to do this and how I'm going to execute it. And then it comes down to budgets and
Feasibility,
feasibility. But yeah, no, I mean, I listen to all the suggestions. I read the comments. I see what people say, even the mean things. But yeah, the packaging next week, it's gonna be my Thanksgiving break, I think, is to really dive into what this packaging is gonna look like and how to make it a really cool experience.
I mean, the Proton Pack was one of the more fun packaging experiences I've witnessed somebody kind of go through, because my fiance was like having an absolute blast just opening that. So
Yeah,
there's definitely precedent for a lot of fun.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that changed from that HasLab to the two in the box, and I think there's even more things that changed from the two in the box to this what are we calling this one? The Ectomobile. Sorry,
Ectomobile.
our internal code name for this is like a Simpsons joke, and it just gets stuck in my head. But yeah, so the packaging kind of guidelines and stuff have evolved since that HasLab, because I don't think I'm going to be doing like a floor puzzle.
It is a very impressive floor puzzle, though.
Yeah, but my goal is still the same. Jarrett, the guy who designed that, is a fantastic, brilliant designer. And going forward, I want to take a lot of like that learning and inspiration. Like that set the tone for everything that came after it. Which is really, really cool. And then what does an evolved Plasma series package look like? They've been using that canvas kind of line look for a while with the khaki jumpsuits and stuff. But if there's an opportunity to evolve and expand on that, I'd love to be able to take it.
And I think on that note, for anybody who hasn't back to HasLab since the Proton Pack, and you may be getting your 2 in the box and going, okay, is it going to be this elaborate of packaging? So just to reiterate, we have made a lot of standardization changes on HasLab packaging since the Proton Pack shipped. We've learned a lot about best practices for shipping because we want to make sure that those items, again, because they are dream toy items, are getting to you in as pristine of condition as humanly possible. And so with that comes a lot of kind of an implementation of modularity between the packages so that there's a little bit more standardization of what to expect. And so in that, so for example, that beautiful 2 in the box external packaging that's behind Jason. So inside there are 2 kind of cardboard kind of pull out boxes that are in there. They have a print on them, but within each of those boxes, there are egg crates that have all of the items nestled safely inside that are wrapped in poly bags so that they are secure. They will get to you very, very securely. And then I believe it's that retail box goes inside of a larger cardboard box that gets corner protectors on it that goes inside of another box that ships to you. And so we understand that sometimes shipping companies are not the most delicate with boxes that show up. And so we want to make sure that regardless of how this is treated, the hope is that it gets to you in perfect condition.
Yeah. And my goal with packaging is always to make you feel bad about throwing it away. So
It's the best kind.
yeah.
Can I add that I just love the fact that you guys, like, when it comes to the figures here, I feel like you went above and beyond, like the fact that the Ghostbusters 2 figures, I mean, Winston was really the only one that really needed like a new head, but everybody got a new head. And the fact too that like with the Library Ghost, you're not doing the grotesque, monster-esque version, which is arguably more toyetic. Like if you were to put one on the shelf, that'd be the one. I don't think a lot of people are lining up to buy a little old, frivolous lady. But that said, you can offer in this and this like a really nice grab for like the hardcore fans. So I just wanted to add that. Like I love the fact that you went with these kind of like the deep cut of the human form of the Library Ghost. And again, going above and beyond when it came to the 4 guys, because to me that was huge. Like that was a big, aside from the fact of getting a second Ecto, why I bought a second one, because now I want to like pop the heads off of my second batch and maybe replace the original Ghostbusters heads with a few of them and kind of like do my own little customs and such.
Yeah. Giving characters new and like updated facial expressions is a huge thing for this because I didn't want to just use the same ones. I wanted to do something new and exciting and yeah, Winston just needed a shave and a haircut, I think. But but other than that, like yeah, we didn't need to update him, but quality of life upgrades too, like the caliber of the printing that we do for the faces, and even just the sculpting. It's just miles above where it was 5 years ago, 4 years ago. I don't know what year we're in.
Yeah, nobody knows.
yeah.
Time has no meaning anymore.
Working 2 years out, I'm like, oh, it's 2026, and I was like, no, it's not.
So close.
But yeah, being able to do the new head sculpts has been really fun. And like, Aton and I would comb through the movies and just be like, oh, freeze frame. All right, we'll go like the screen cap that. We'll send it to Eric at Ghost Core and we'll see what he thinks of that. And there's also a certain amount of future proofing when it comes to selecting facial expressions or versions of like the Library Ghost, like making it Ruth Oliver, let's say, a year from now, I want to do the scary version. It gives me that flexibility to do this more like kind of mass appeal that is more toyetic later on while keeping the deep cut in the HasLab offering. And like now that we've nailed Slimer, the possibilities for Slimer are endless. So like just knowing that, and I say it all the time, I've said it on countless streams with Craig, that silhouette that Slimer cuts is perfect. I love looking at it so much.
In the least weird way possible, right?
Yeah, no, make it a little weird. 'Cause
Okay.
It's Slimer. It's got to be a little weird. But just making sure you're nailing these shapes. And once you have the framework of the character and you really understand how that character looks, how that character moves, whether it's the facial expression or the character itself, like Slimer not having shoulders. His shoulders are built into his bean-shaped body. But like that gives you as an artist and as like a sculptor, that gives you so much more freedom later on. If you're like, oh, I want to do stuff with new facial expressions, you have this really, really good framework and understanding to start from as you go and you make more kind of poses and head sculpts and stuff in the future.
I think that that's one of the things that's nice about this not being our first rodeo with these characters. We got to do a run of these that had more of the neutral expressions, and now we get to do some more dynamic expressions. And that's something that I love when I see in action figures, not just a neutral face, but like expressing some kind of emotion is really cool. And I think it helps to build out that story, and it really kind of places it within those movie moments, which is a lot of fun and gives us a really great kind of building blocks for the future.
Yeah, I think the big note on all of my head sculpts have been like asymmetrical expressions. Like Slimer is not symmetrical. He shouldn't look symmetrical. Like, none of us are symmetrical. We like our facial expressions aren't mirrored perfectly from one side to the other. So the action figures, to get them a more natural look and like a natural feel, really having those kind of learnings from previous ones to going to the new ones. Like the Dan Aykroyd head, the Ray figure, he's got, that like upturn. I don't know if this is gonna.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like those head sculpts are really fun.
Hey Pat, Dan Aykroyd famously has 2 different colored eyes. Did you guys do that for this figure?
Yes, sir.
You did?
Yeah.
You seem not surprised he just
Isn't that disgusting?
That's pretty great. That's the brown and the
awesome.
green.
Is
it weirder
like,
that you did it, or that I just have that in my back pocket?
It's that, but I think it's both. We both spent a little too much time looking at Dan Aykroyd, I think. But so the face printing for I can't remember what they call it. The way we print the faces on the figures.
Face printing technology.
Yeah.
That's just okay.
So like the deco sheet for Ray has his eyes, and they are 2 different colors. And it's weird because it kind of looks like a flattened, like a Roger Rabbit flattened version of his face.
Yeah.
That gets applied to the figure, but the eyes are 2 different colors.
That's amazing. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to ask this so where it makes sense. Because I know obviously you can't comment on future state, but assuming that this is successful, Ghostbusters has traditionally been a brand that, like, during movie years or entertainment years, there's pretty robust product rollouts, and then in non-movie years, it can be kind of quiet. So there's nothing on the books for Ghostbusters movie right now. We know there's an animated series coming at some point. Does that affect, like, does the 2025 product rollout, is that a determining factor basically each year going into the because the other thing is Ghostbusters, you've got the retro, Kenner stuff, and then you've got kids focused stuff, and then you have like the adult collector plasma series. So I think we get questions a lot about like what goes into the decision making about how much product gets put into a brand on an annual basis.
Yeah, very good question. So I think for Ghostbusters especially, there is, I mean, you have your fan audiences who are established. This is a 40-year-old brand. And so people who were watching those movies as kids or watched them shortly after they came out are now, adults such as yourselves. But then when new movies come out, like Afterlife, like Frozen Empire, you get kind of an influx of kids that are being introduced to the franchise for the first time. And so I think that what entertainment years really offer us a platform for is getting more kids interested in the franchise. And so the way that I kind of think about it, and keep in mind that the kind of the movie development stuff is not necessarily a me thing that I am in charge of, but the way that I think about it is movie years, there's more product that is aimed towards kids. Non-movie years, we focus more on fans. And so what is something that our adult collectors are looking for? What is something that they will be really excited about without necessarily needing to do some of the more toyetic-y kid like the proton blasters and kind of those elements. Does that seem fair?
Yes.
Great.
I think, yeah, absolutely. Being able to pull from an entire 40-year history for the fan product, as opposed to, we did kid figures of the original 4, and they were awesome. I love those figures. I made one of myself where I resculpted my head and stuck it on. And I love those figures a lot. But the kid stuff is going to be so focused on the current entertainment, whether it's Frozen Empire, whether it's the new Netflix show. And then in those off years, I think focusing on the fans. Because I know 2025 is. Are we in 2025?
No, we will be. It's 24.
Okay.
25's next year. 26 is the year after. You're so close.
So like 2025, 2026, those are kind of
in between years.
Yeah. So the new animation I think is soon, according to Netflix. I don't know if they've given a date on that yet. But I think there's a Kenner anniversary coming up in 2026. So a real Ghostbusters anniversary.
Yep.
Is that it? Yeah. So being able to focus on the fans and get product out without entertainment, I think is really important.
And I think that that's also, it's a fun opportunity because it lets us mine legacy content a little bit more than if there was new entertainment that we'd be beholden to. And so both of those are really, they're both fun in their own ways. It's really cool to get to be involved in kind of that new theatrical release process and say like, okay, this is something that we can include from this that is all new that kids will get excited about. But it's also fun, especially for the development team as fans, to be able to say like, okay, this is something I've loved for 40 years. This is something I've loved for 30 years. How can we bring this to other people that will be as excited about it as we are?
Sweet. Thank you. That's awesome clarification. Thank you.
Yeah. Thoughts, feelings, anything else? You should get a calendar. It's fine.
I feel good.
Pat, you're working so much into the future. You already
I know.
think it's 2025.
I have no idea.
What year is it?
Time
That
is a
was-
flat circle.
It was so interesting when we were at London Comic-Con, we did a Dragonfly unboxing for G.I. Joe, and everybody was like, oh, you must have opened one of these so recently. I was like, I think the last time I opened one of these was 9 months ago, because we work so far out in the future that I don't remember the last time I touched one of these. And so really it's going to be, I will have the same unboxing experience as everybody else as I struggle through this without reading the instructions.
That's a big thing. When you guys get your 2 in the boxes, read the instructions.
Read the instructions. Do not ignore. So the PKE meter is going to come with a white paper band around it that will show you when you go into Tase mode how to reset the wings to get it back into regular PKE mode. There are a lot of wrong ways to do this, but the paper band will show you all the wrong ways and the right way. Just to verbalize this, and we'll do an unboxing video where we're like playing with this and we're showing it to everybody. But you put the wings, they snap back in at 90-degree angles, and then they will automatically lower themselves back down.
Yeah, Pat was like, Craig, 90 degrees. And I was like, you act like I know what that means, okay? I'm a computer person. I don't do degrees.
You don't
Wait,
do
that should be more. It should be more if you're a computer person.
Not a good computer. So,
So guys,
it's amazing. The 2 in the box is very cool. It's very, very cool.
Are there any questions or any details anyone wants to see? Keeping in mind these are early prototypes, but like I can walk this camera around and give you like a Blair Witch style view of what's going on here.
I mean, if we're here, you may as well. Everybody got a couple minutes for Pat's
Sure.
hidden camera version of this.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's see what we got here. Okay. I don't know how this is going to look because this camera doesn't focus super well. But
All right.
How-
You,
how
you're
about
doing,
it?
it's pretty good. So there are lots of lights in the interior. So you can see that all 4 of the figures are hanging out. There is a radio in that is actually built into the roof. So one of the things, and we'll go over this when we do unboxings of the Ectomobile HasLab, is that radio, when you are putting your roof on, you just need to make sure that the cord of the radio isn't stuck between the roof and the top of the car.
Okay.
And if it is, it's okay. You just need to reposition the roof. It's really weird to be able to see myself.
sorry.
It's fine.
Cool.
It's an out
Watch
of body
the-
Emily experience right now.
Yeah.
Watch the roof rack on that one.
Yeah.
I guess the
Yeah,
question is, while we're looking at it, how easy is the transition?
Oh,
It's pretty easy.
it's pretty easy.
It's a little more difficult on these prototypes, but it is.
Do you want me to do it on this one?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
Okay.
go.
Here, give me a second. Okay, so what you want to do is there's 3 pieces that you need to take off. So ladder comes off. Silver pipe comes off. That way. And then the blue hoses come off. So it's easiest if you do this, if you kind of go in through the trunk. Then what you want to do is you pop the back up.
Oh, wow.
Comes off right like that.
Mm-hmm.
So then here's the radio that we mentioned. So then when you put it back in, go front side first, move that cord out of the way. These click right in. It goes back on. So the electronics, if you have batteries in it or if you have it in USB-C always on mode, the electronics will kick in. USB-C always on mode, the electronics will kick in as soon as the roof rack is in place. If you have the batteries in, you'll need to click the button. Then all you need to do is little blue friend goes back into the little blue area. Ladder goes back right here. Yep, here we go. And then silver piece plugs in just like so. Ladder comes out. Ta-da. Easy as pie.
Yeah, as someone who has, like, other than, sticker fear, like breaking stuff fear, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
And so keep in mind that these are prototypes, so they are a little bit more fragile and flimsy, and they have handled all of the world travel that they have done over the last 8 weeks like absolute champs. So we will make sure that everything fits perfectly into place on the production models, but even on the prototypes. And they don't usually let marketers touch things because we break them. But I have been able to, I can do all the roof rack stuff. I can plug everything in. These are super easy to do. And because all of the electronics live in the roof rack, when you switch the roof racks over, it automatically knows which codes to kick in or to kick on. And so all of the electronics will match for whichever version of the roof rack you have on. Zach has worked so hard on these. And so I don't know, which is more complicated, this or the 2 in the box?
Two.
Probably 2 in the box.
Absolutely 2 in the box. But these have the most LEDs that have ever been in Hasbro items.
Yeah.
I think the other contender are like those
Including some of our high-end other licensed brand role play items that you may know and love.
Yeah.
So the fact that there are this many LEDs in these products is kind of bonkers.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's a lot of coding. There's 2 buttons under the
hood.
Yeah, under the front bumper. And one of those buttons is lights, and one of those buttons is sounds. And Zach and I right now are working on button combos, long presses, short presses, press it twice for this, double click this, press it both at the same time for this, and just kind of setting up gameplay functions is how we describe it internally. Just to make sure that you're getting lights, you're getting sounds, you're getting lights if you only want lights, sounds if you only want sounds. And really just kind of making sure that they're true to the movies. And also, nobody wants to listen to the Ecto 1 siren for like 2 hours.
Unless you really do, but
So it's a great noise, but it is grating. And now that we know we're going to have the USB-C always on, which was just such a huge thing when we started talking to fans about previous HasLabs and what to do for future HasLabs before we kicked off this project. A big thing was just like, yeah, just give me the ability to plug it in.
Yeah.
Like I just want to plug it in and use it as like a lamp. like and the amount of people that want to take this and plug it into like a smart device so you can just have Alexa turn it on for you when it turns on the rest of your house lights. Being able to do that and have the lights just kick on is a really, really cool thing that we're definitely, this is not the end of that type of thinking.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see, the learnings, it's an iterative process, right? So all the learnings from the proton pack influenced a lot of the stuff on the trap and the PKE, and a lot of the learnings from that influenced this. And now, whatever the future brings, we'll have a lot of lighting experience.
So much lighting experience.
So we'll have even more, tools and talent to lead us into the future.
Yeah. Does anybody, knowing that we're a little bit over time, does anybody have any final questions that they want to ask or final parting thoughts? Jason looks like he has something exciting to say.
No, not exciting at all.
Sorry, no pressure, no pressure.
Well, if we're talking lights, I'm just kind of curious. Is there, or with the always on when it comes to the Ecto, was there any change up when it came to, let's say, the previous props to this one because of the item it is? Like, because those were more like the wearable cosplay products, while this is like a stagnant kind of toy that you'd have on your shelf. Are there different restrictions, regulations, stuff like that? Is that why, as to why, we couldn't have our proton pack on all the time? Was just due to maybe safety restrictions?
Good question.
That's a good question. I've absorbed a little bit of information from Zach. Zach's on vacation right now, so I don't want to speak for him, but I know that the going to a possibility of the USB-C connector freed up a lot of restrictions for him. So he was once that became a thing that we could do, it kind of opened the doors for him to be like, well, can we just get rid of timeout? like stuff like that. So I think that was a huge win for him personally. That was like his crusade for the last little bit.
I feel like that is something that kind of comes with this not being a wearable prop item, where if we can say like, yes, this is going to live on a shelf. Yes, this will be near a wall plug-in. This seems like something reasonable to do for this item. And I know that a lot of people have found clever workarounds for the pack and being able to kind of use portable batteries, rechargeable batteries with it. Pat and I didn't work on the proton pack development team, and so we're not entirely sure what all of those conversations were, but we're really excited about kind of what this potentially means going forward for items that have electronics in them like this.
Cool, thank you.
Ghostbusters has been kind of a cool testing ground for Hasbro.
Mm-hmm.
It's allowed us as a company, not only just within the brand itself, but as a company to try things out that were new and different, and use those learnings going forward.
And I think that Sony has been such amazing partners when we're like, we have this kind of wacky idea. What do you think? They're like, well, give it a try. Sure. Tell us how to go.
I'm sure Eric at Ghost Core is real tired of my email address popping up.
But I think it must be, I would imagine as a licensor, if you know that somebody is really passionate about your brand and that your brand is in good hands, regardless of what company is working on it, that just must be something that is so cool. Like, I love seeing when other people are working on, whether it be Ghostbusters or any of our other brands at Hasbro, just to know that somebody else is as passionate about this stuff as we are is incredibly cool. And there is so much creativity in this community that we have a lot of fun seeing what other people are coming up with.
Well, that's awesome. It's incredible. I'm super excited. Like I said, I think that the one thing that you guys are doing in this campaign that is making it really great is you've been really open and really transparent about it from the start. And the fact that you had like hardcore Ecto fans as consultants to ensure accuracy and things like that. I just think, shout out to you guys for going above and beyond.
Thank you. As we've said before, we feel very, very fortunate to get to represent our design and development team, and everybody who has had their hand in this project has worked so hard to bring it to life. And so we just count ourselves as being super lucky.
Awesome.
From a fan standpoint, like I'm working on things that I want to buy, and if I don't want to buy it, there's something wrong. So being as transparent as PR and
As we are physically able to.
everybody being as transparent as everybody will let me be is really important to me, because it's not gonna, if we're doing things right, it's not gonna hurt.
Yeah. And so thank you guys for all of your support, and to all of the amazing Ghostbusters fans out there, thank you for all of your support. And remember, you have until 11:59 p.m. Eastern time on December 2nd to back our Plasma Series Ectomobile Anniversary Edition HasLab campaign. And again, we won't charge you until 11:59 p.m. Eastern time on December 2nd.
Like all the text at the end of the
Don't forget to head to HasRepulse.com for these and more disclaimers. Yeah, see, I can do
I
that.
can't talk that fast.
I have a lot to say, so sometimes it helps to say it fast.